So I'm very excited to share this video with you today. This is a plant that I received from Indonesia, and I have ordered plants from overseas before to pretty disastrous results. I was really concerned about this plant because I had a shipping issue where for some reason after it got through customs here, it didn't get on a truck to be delivered. So I had to call the company and they worked it out and they got it to me the following day. And I let them know I really need it because this is a plant and it might not be alive on Monday. So here's a first peek at the plant. It looks really healthy. It felt there was moisture still. Like when I opened this, I could feel almost humidity in the box. And so I instantly, a lot of my stress and my concern faded away. So you can see I'm even struggling to get this paper off. I need to watch like a how to unbox your plants video. Oh my gosh, here it is. Oh my gosh. So this is an Aglaonema Rotundum, and I have wanted this plant for a while. I first found it on a Reddit forum. Somebody was asking, does anybody know what this is? Because it looks like a Calathea Ornata. It's got this pinstriping on the leaves. And I did a search looking for it, and I had no idea that you could get Aglaonema that look like this. And so this actually also comes in like a pictum as well, but I really wanted this because I did lose my Ornata to spider mites, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna give this a shot. Maybe this is gonna be a plant that is a little bit less difficult to take care of than a Calathea Ornata. The Ornata is an incredibly difficult Calathea to take care of, to be honest with you. If you have one, if you've struggled with it, you know that. And I think it's the same for everyone. They are temperamental plants. If you have an Ornata and it's thriving and amazing, congratulations, that's amazing. But here is the leaf in a little bit more detail. You can see it's got the darker green leaf, and then it's got the pink pinstriping on it, which is another reason why the Calathea is known as the pinstripe Calathea, the Ornata. Now, it came bare root, but it was very well packaged inside of this sphagnum moss, and it was still very moist, but not wet, right? I've had that problem where things have been too wet when they've shipped internationally, and when I get them, they're rotted. But you can see I'm being really careful here with the roots. I do not want to take any chances. Look at how healthy and clean these roots are. I'm almost wondering if this was propagated in water. I don't know, but this is just absolutely beautiful. And the plant honestly looked amazing. I was completely shocked. I've never had something actually shipped to me like this, where it arrived internationally and it looked this healthy, and it arrived on time and it wasn't messed up. I've had a lot of other unsuccessful attempts, as I already mentioned. So I'm potting it up here. I am using, and I'll go over some of the basic care requirements with you in a moment, just to share kind of what it is that I did with this plant. But here I'm giving it some distilled water right away. This is right out of my distiller carafe, actually. And once I do that, I can see where I need to go back in here. And I'm using, again, the same soil I would for a Calathea. And so it's very fast draining. And this is some neem oil. If you follow my channel, you'll know I've had some spider mite outbreaks this year in my house. So I'm going to give it some upfront protection in the soil, and hope that it uptakes the neem oil into the roots and out through the foliage. And success. You can see that we've got drainage coming out of the bottom. It's been well watered, evenly watered, and it's looking good. I am really, I just can't explain it to you. I really, when I saw that the shipping had been delayed a day, I thought, well, this is it. I'm not going to get this plant. And to be honest, I spent a bit of money on this plant, probably mostly in the shipping and getting the plant shipped to me. But I thought, here it goes. I'm not going to get the plant. It's not going to turn out how I wanted it. That just wasn't the case. I should have been a little bit more optimistic. I got an absolutely beautiful plant from a seller that was incredibly communicative and really thorough. So I'm gonna put a link to that seller. It was on Etsy. I'll put a link to that seller in the description box if you're interested. But just look at the variegation. These markings on the leaf are so amazing. And it's this type of pinstriping that really attracted me to the Calathea Ornata originally. And I just am blown away by how much this plant resembles the Calathea Ornata to me in a way, but is again completely different. And you can see its new leaf here. It's already striped, getting ready to unfurl. And the leaves on this plant, if you look this plant up, these leaves aren't as variegated, but that's why I'm putting it here. This is the rescue peace lily that I did a video about, but I'm putting it here. It's by my, is this still a Sansevieria or is this a Dracaena now? The naming conventions and things moving around really confuses me sometimes. I don't keep up very well, but it's going to be here. This is a southwest window that actually gets indirect light, so it's not going to get direct light. And by the way, this is like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, so when I'm taking the video, so you're not going to see any light coming through the window just yet, but it's going to be getting a lot of very bright indirect light in this southwest window, which again, a portion of my house comes out and blocks it from direct light, but it gets a good amount of light. And actually my peace lily has been really happy since I moved it here. I think it's a good place for the growing season where it's getting a lot of really bright indirect light. I'll be again using some care tips that I would use with, say, a Calathea. So for this Aglaonema Rotundum, I want a really fast draining soil. That's pretty imperative. Also, because of the variegation on this leaf and I want it to become more and more visible, I'm going to use this very bright diffused light to make sure that it's getting the necessary amount of light for that variegation to continue and to darken. I also want to keep the soil consistently moist, not wet. And I also want the humidity to be at 50% or above. And I can talk a little bit about if you don't keep the soil consistently moist, from my understanding, you certainly can see yellowing in the lower leaves, and I don't want to deal with that. So this plant doesn't want to be water stressed and it doesn't want wet feet. So to me, that reminds me a lot of what a Calathea wants. So I'm feeling a little bit confident. Humidity 50% and above for me is not too much of a problem. What I would say about that is my house is normally anywhere from 40 to 50% humidity. And so one of the reasons why I've used things in the past like oil diffusers to kick up humidity in a very, very, very small area. And again, the oil diffusers that I've mentioned before will not increase the humidity in the room. They just won't. They don't. And the actual technology that they use to put the water into the air, into this vapor that you see, is different than what the humidifier is technically doing if you have a humidifier. However, for me, in a very tiny area, and I am talking about plants that are within 0 to 6 inches of an oil diffuser, I've been able to help Calatheas that were dealing with humidity stress regrow healthy growth that isn't suffering from humidity stress. And so I've already put today a oil diffuser by it, and it's literally less than an inch away, right? So I'm gonna see how it does with that, given that my house is already gonna normally on any given day be 40 to 50% humidity, and hope that this just pushes it over enough to keep it happy. When it comes to fertilizer, from my understanding, these aren't quite as sensitive as a Calathea would be to fertilizer. However, I've seen recommended that you switch between organic and then maybe a synthetic liquid fertilizer. Now, I'm going to probably be sticking just with an organic fertilizer for this, and I'll probably apply it maybe twice a month. So every 2 weeks, I will be putting down a top dressing of worm castings and then watering through. And just like the rest of my plants right now, because we are experiencing spider mite outbreaks in my region, they've been pretty intense this year. I think conditions and the climate have been perfect for them, unfortunately. I am going to be also treating this probably once a month with neem oil. And I'll do that through a soil drench. So I'll actually water it with a diluted neem solution. I do have a video on how I made that, and I'll be updating it soon if you're interested. So this is kind of the basic care that I'm going to be giving my Aglaonema now that I've got it home. I thought I would also share with you before I go a little bit of an update on my plant room as I'm trying to get it back up to snuff, and check out my Tetrasperma. Little Leaf SF had like a really interesting little bit about these plants in one of the last videos, and I now am wondering if mine was like a tissue culture, because I've noticed it's lighter green than I expected it to be. Either way. And here you can see where I kind of got the watering wrong at first. I'm not great with terracotta pots necessarily, but this thing is taking off. It's very close to the south facing window, but again, the sun is tracked so far north that it's not getting direct light. It's getting very bright and direct light, and it is loving it here. It is just thriving and growing and getting tall, and now I'm feeling stressed. What am I gonna do with it when it gets bigger? Here's my black cardinal. It probably is due for a repot. It's got all these, like, I think these are just little baby plantlets that have been growing and growing. And then my white tiger is recovering from humidity stress because I was not running the humidifier in the room during kind of all of the drama that went on in this room. Things were really unhealthy. I had a mold out. I just can't even get into it. Here's my Rosie though, and I found spider mites. This is where I most recently, if you've heard me talking, found spider mites. I removed the leaf, completely treated the plant, and it's back to normal. I noticed, right, that it had spider mites, not because I checked under the leaf. You don't have to always, Calatheas, when they hold their leaves tight and down, look underneath the leaf. When they stop raising them at night, look for pests, because that movement in the Calathea, it's the way it holds the leaves will look stressed out. So that's how I keep an eye on mine. Here's my Sabrina. It's actually doing much better. I got it out of the terracotta pot, and I think it might actually survive to maturity now. Very excited for that. So I just wanted to share a little bonus footage with you of my plant room and how it's coming. I hope that you are having a wonderful and restorative day. And until next time, be well and take care.